Hey, Mike.
Hello. How we
Hi. I'm okay. I just like putting your everydays behind me, you know.
doing? That's that's fair. That's fair.
I want to ask you about the human one. What the technology, I mean, how you build it exactly. Is it four screens? How does it work? Are you using a kind of Pandora software the way that Henri Sala did for the show that we did, but reversed because it's on the outside? Or how does it
I
work?
don't know how he was doing that, but yeah, basically what it is it's sort of this like kind of like cage with four screens on it, and then there's like a metal sort of like polished aluminum case, and the entire thing is rotating. And all of the power goes through this, it's called a slip ring, that sort of like allows the cords to not get, continuously tangled as it spins. And then inside the like all of the four screens, there's like two very powerful computers that are used to run like concert visuals. Because again, that's sort of like the world I come from. And so those computers are able to sort of see where the box is rotating and make sure the video is synced exactly where it should be to kind of like make this illusion. And the illusion doesn't work like on all sides of it. It doesn't look like that from like all sides. It looks like that from sort of like one sort of like area. And then on the other sides, it looks a bit sort of like warped. You can see it's got this very sort of like trippy kind of like look
Abstract.
to the video. Yeah, it looks more sort of like abstract in a way. Just because that's how you sort of like get that sort of like perspective trick.
But
And that's a trick called projection mapping.
But do you mean that it's, first of all, the box actually turns
Yes, the
physically,
box actually turns.
spins.
Yes.
And then secondarily to that, inside, are there four projectors or two projectors?
No projectors. It's just four video screens. They're like four basically like TVs, like very, very high
Okay,
definition
four video
TVs that
screens.
are all turning.
And does the video screen connect to a computer that says, uh, I mean, are there like four different videos that are playing?
Yeah, they're four different videos. It's actually technically one video that's like stretched on the box just to make it easier to sort of like make these videos so we don't have to render as much just because it's such high resolution. But it's actually four videos that are being stretched in real time on the box to make it look like that in like a very specific way to give that illusion. And that's what the computers are doing in real time.
Are they using Pandora?
No, the computers are called Disguise. The company is Disguise, and they're called D3. Each one of those computers is like $70,000. They're very expensive computers.
Okay, but the software is what?
D3, it's called.
D as in David?
Yeah.
D3. Okay, and they've been used. Okay, so that's one question, how it was built. The second thing is, if I understand correctly, when you you control it remotely, so you could actually change the footage. And are you changing it now, or is it it's going to be the same until the auction?
So right now it's in a bit more of kind of what I would call like a demo mode. So it's not exactly how it will necessarily be moving forward, or at least how I'm kind of like picturing it. So right now it's got sort of like one sort of like 10-minute loop that kind of shows a number of different, him walking through a number of different sort of like environments. And then over the course of 24 hours, that loop changes from day to like evening, morning, then to like dusk. And so it changes, like it will look like it's like nighttime on the box at night. And it's slowly fading between these videos. So you don't like, it's not just like, oh, it's nighttime. It slowly fades into nighttime until you're like, oh, okay, it's nighttime.
But do you have to change the videos, I mean, on location, or does it get sent through the computer?
Sent through the computer. We have an internet connection. So the box really just needs, it doesn't need internet. It only needs internet to update. Otherwise, you literally just plug the box in, the computers start and immediately go into it. You kind of set like, there's like a little sort of like thing where you set where you want the thing pointed in terms of like, okay, I want the sort of like correct spot to look at it to be here. You kind of like point that in the box, it starts spinning. As soon as it hits that spot, the videos start and they're all like perfectly in sync. So we can move it actually. You get like a pallet jack or whatever, and it's, you know, it's heavy. It's like the size of a refrigerator.
So
but you can move it very quickly.
Conceptual art is based on the kind of, the value is, the importance is kind of in the concept. And here the concept, which is innovative, is in a way that you're not really selling an artwork, you're selling an exhibition space as an artwork, because you're kind of selling a screen in a way. So in a way, the whole exhibition space is turned into a sculpture that's a digital video, but you're selling an exhibition space, because whoever buys it, I mean, if you wanted, you could put me in that damn video, and then the guy or girl would have to have whatever it is you want to put, right?
Yeah.
You control it.
Yes.
Okay, so that is in line, I would say, with Duchamp. Do you know who Marcel Duchamp is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
The toilet.
Oh, good. Great. The upside down toilet. Well, the idea was that, you know, you sign an object and then it's an artwork. So in a way, you're saying that you're signing a frame where you're putting stuff in it. You can put, or is it not? Because the craft is important as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just like that. You just plunk this thing off and like signed it. This took a second to build, so I wouldn't say it's a one-to-one analogy, which is ripping a toilet off the wall and putting our mud on it. I think there's a little bit more to that, but I do agree that it is very. There is a conceptual component to this that I think is actually maybe the most important, in that it is not a static piece of artwork, just like any of the other sort of like things you have at the museum. And so anything that they want to, that any meaning, new meaning derived from it, is in some ways sort of by chance, versus this work is an ongoing dialogue that I will continue to have and will continue to evolve. And the meaning derived from it today will be very different from the meaning derived from it, you know, sort of 6 months from now, as the video continues to evolve and this story continues to sort of unfold.
What happens when you die?
So at first I was thinking I would just make a video and then it would change to that when I died. And then I was talking to a collector, and they were telling me about Andy Warhol's time capsules. And then he got all these time capsules, open this one this time, open this one this time. And I thought that's a great idea. And that I could actually have a bunch of videos that it's like, okay, and they could just be programmed in that it's like, okay, you know, sort of 10 years after I die, start playing this. This is a work in progress. And it is.
Okay, I want to tell you one thing, which is that there are artists, especially in the Baroque period, in the 1600s and 1700s, and the Arte Povera artists, actually our artists from Torino, the Arte Povera artists like Gilberto Zorio, or for example, Michelangelo Pistoletto. Originally, he was painting before you could actually silkscreen on the steel, before technology developed. He was painting on thin, transparent paper, like the one you put on shoes, and then gluing it onto the mirror. So you'll see this figure that looks like a photographic figure in the size of a person, and then you see yourself in the mirror or whatever else gets into the mirror. So the Arte Povera artists had an idea that the work was an open artwork, and it was always changing and it was always in progress. There was a really important semiologist, an Italian called Umberto Eco, ECO, as in ecology.
Yep.
He died. I liked him so much. He taught me a lot. I really loved Umberto Eco. He founded something called the study of signs, semiology. And one of his really important books was L'Opera Aperta, the open artwork that would change forever. And he was thinking about John Cage and certain kinds of works that would involve the universe as it changes in them. And anyway, he was from Italy and influenced also the Arte Povera artists. So I think this idea that an artwork is a process and is in progress, as is open, was very much connected to that kind of aesthetic, which is connected to the Baroque, which is connected to actually ancient Greek and Roman philosophy of the atoms always changing, Heraclitus and Lucrezio. So I'm very interested, being the world. I just did a tremendous lapsus, psychic slip, Freudian slip. What I meant to say was, being an arte povera expert, this idea of an artwork that changes always and that's open as opposed to fixed is very important to me. I think it's very important, and that's different from the time capsules. I mean, the time capsules is kind of programming the future, while this is really the unpredictability also of the future. But you are not speaking about unpredictability. You're actually speaking about programming it. I mean, you
Yeah, I
programming
think
it.
it's similar to that concept in a way, but in a way, those artworks are still, they are, he made the mirror, and the statement was, this will change over time. And that was the thing. And then that's it. The mirror is the mirror. Yeah. That's it.
Yes.
It's not, it doesn't like, that is the statement. And again, the context of what, who's standing in front of it, this or that, like that will change, but his piece of it is done. Like, the mirror is the mirror.
Yeah, but it was 1960.
Sure, I totally get that. This sort of technology, to my sort of knowledge, it was not really available before digital art. And I think this allowing the artist to very seamlessly, because that I think is actually quite different. And it's in the similar sort of like idea as the sort of like mirror and things that sort of reflect society or might look different over time. But those changes are happening without the artist sort of like purposely preconceiving changing it. Like I could change this box in 3 months and it would have like, maybe it has some AIDS message or some message about COVID that it literally just didn't have at all right now. Now it's like, wow, this message is talking about COVID or climate change, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, I understand. Now, the last question I wanted to ask you is about about the money question, because I think that your artwork is also embedded with the technology and the means of distribution that you use. And you're evidently interested in auctions, both because NFTs are auctions.
Not really. I wouldn't say that.
Once you said to me, I'm not interested in the galleries. And I think that that's because you find them a little bit like an old-fashioned system of distribution. I think.
When did I say that? Because that's not the case now.
Oh, you said that in one of our.
I'm interested in. Let's just say my thoughts have evolved over the last 6 months. No, I'm definitely interested in galleries, sort of like, I'm interested in all ways of sort of like displaying this work. Do I think galleries are going to be around forever? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. To me, though, to be quite honest, as much as people want all the money, this or that, it gets people's attention. And what I most want to do right now is get people's attention to the work. And I think people can get distracted by the money for a little bit, but I think getting the work in front of them, getting them to think about the actual work, I think when they stop and think about the work, they will actually realize it does have some merit.
No, for sure, the money thing gets people's attention because it got, for example, my attention. And I'm considered somebody who doesn't like the money part of the art world.
Everybody likes to pretend they don't like it, but it gets their attention.
No,
they can't
gets your attention. But to me, I think the money aspect is part of the material of the work. I actually do think so. It's like the numbers. When I tell you about the numbers, you know, the numbers in the Instagram, the numbers of the likes, the reactions. We live in an era of big numbers, and there's a neurological dissociation between what represents and what it did represent. In other words, I mean, they're doing tests also with people's brains, you know, like if you take $100 away from them, what reaction? If you take $1,000 away from them, what reaction? And things are getting all messed up right now in the numbers. And that's very interesting to me. because we live in a universe of a technology where a young artist that's like a great artist might sell a work for 150,000 and you put the work up at auction for 15 million. This to me is because you're working with the numbers too. I mean, the digital is numbers, you know, it's all about numbers. Behind the software, it's all numbers. So we're in this numerological world, like the Maya civilization. And there's a kind of detachment from what the numbers used to be, like how much does a hamburger cost? How much labor of a certain individual, what does it represent? It's very confused right now, and there are different registers at the same time functioning. But before I let you go, so basically, I mean, what I want to talk about when we have time after your auction is the relationship between the different universes, the universe of technology, the universe of economy and money and numbers, and the universe of art, because they're not exactly the same universes, and how you're playing
Yeah,
with these.
let's continue sort of like talking about that, because if there's a way to sort of make that work, I think that would be awesome. But
you have to go because 20 minutes are up. Okay, well, I kind of have to end.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, let's find a time to chat next week or the week after.
Yes, I would like that, a serious talk, you know, like
Yeah.
we do. That would be very nice. Okay.
Okay. Awesome.
Ciao.
Bonus. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, bye, Mike. Bye.